The George Burns and Gracie Allen Show, presented by Carnation Evaporated Milk. Hi, everybody. Our curtain's about to go up on George and Gracie, but we have a moment here, and I'd like to tell you this about George. You know, typical of most husbands, George has a favorite dish. Yes, sir, fried chicken. Not just any fried chicken, mind you, but fried chicken the way Gracie fixes it. Fried chicken fiesta with gravy. It's really something very special, and I can show you right here on the screen how Gracie goes about fixing it. First of all, the chicken is dipped in milk, and then into cornmeal, and then placed into the skillet to brown. Of course, that's the usual thing, but there's a big difference here. It is not ordinary milk Gracie uses. This is Carnation evaporated milk, undiluted. Now, this is very important because the best way to get a good, rich brown crust and still have the inside moist and tender is to use Carnation undiluted. Then, of course, the chicken goes into the oven, a moderate oven, for 30 minutes or until tender. Now you come to the gravy. And for a really smooth gravy, again, Gracie uses Carnation mixed with an equal amount of water. You see, Carnation, being heat refined, blends so smoothly with the other ingredients that there's less chance of lumping. And again, Carnation brings out the full flavor of your other ingredients. See how smooth that is? And believe me, it's really delicious. Now, how about that? Isn't that a dish to smack your lips over? Fiesta fried chicken with gravy. And folks, this marvelous dish is just another of those cooking miracles not possible with ordinary bottled milk. The secret is right here. Heat-refined, double-rich Carnation. The milk from contented cows. And uh-oh. Curtain going up. It's time for George and Gracie.
Hello, Madge.
Oh, hello, Mr. Burns.
Hey, pretty classy. A manicure at home, huh?
Yes, wasn't that nice of Madge to come over and manicure my nails?
You bet. Oh, Harry Von Zell is outside on the patio. He wants to talk to me.
Oh, all right,
So
dear.
I'll be outside.
Mm-hmm. Well, go on, Madge. You were saying?
Oh, yeah. I said, now, Florence, you're my kid sister, and I'm telling you this for your own good. Don't marry that no-good bum.
Uh-huh. And what did Florence say?
Mind your own business, you jealous busybody.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Madge. I thought you wanted to tell me.
Oh, no, Florence said that to me.
Oh!
Oh, well, anyhow, I said, okay, little Miss Smarty Pants, you go ahead and marry the guy. But I'm telling you this, if Father was here, you wouldn't marry him, the big loafer.
Madge, what a way to talk about your own father.
Oh, no. Florence's fiancé was the loafer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, what happened to him?
Well, you know, after he married Florence, he straightened himself right out. He went to Texas and got a job in an oil well. He quit drinking, too. And you know what? Today, he's worth $1 million. And the nicest guy you ever wanted to meet.
Oh, doesn't it make you mad when somebody lets you down like that?
Yeah.
In here, Blanche.
Hi, honey.
Hello, Blanche.
Hello, Meg. I just passed George out in the patio. You know, every time I see him lately, he's working on scripts.
Oh, yes. You see, our television show will go on every week beginning in October.
Oh?
And so poor George is working awfully hard. I'm so glad he's getting a secretary today.
He's getting a secretary?
Yes.
Gracie, you better be there if he's getting a secretary.
Hmm?
Why, he'll hire some doll with more curves than a roller coaster.
Yeah, and then proceed to chase her around the desk.
Oh, no, not my George. He's too fine, too decent, too old.
That's where you're wrong. George is at the dangerous age right now.
Oh? What is the dangerous age for husbands?
From 18 to 110.
Oh, Blanche.
Sure.
Is that true, Madge?
Oh, of course not, Mrs. Burns. I know one 112 I wouldn't trust.
Oh, you girls are just teasing me.
Oh, we are, huh?
Yeah.
Now listen, Gracie. When my husband hired his first secretary, I didn't worry either. And then about a week later, he was sitting in his easy chair relaxing, and I came up behind him and kissed him on the neck, And he said, take a letter, dear.
Oh, Blanche, that's terrible.
Well, of course it is.
Imagine having a secretary and wanting you to take a letter.
Grace, you don't understand. No, honey, you don't understand.
Oh, well, I'm not worried about George. He's the sweetest, most innocent man who ever lived.
There isn't a husband alive who can be trusted out of your sight.
Yeah, they're all a bunch of wolves.
Just a lot of Casanovas.
Casanova's right. They marry you when you're young and gay and pretty.
Yeah, and then when you're old and broken down, they don't love you anymore.
Yeah, they throw you over.
They'll do it every time.
And George is no exception.
Gracie, wait a minute.
Oh, Blanche, don't try to defend him.
Hey, Mrs. Burns, I'm not finished with your nails yet.
Oh? Well, while you're at it, sharpen them. I'll show him.
It's a very funny script, George.
Thanks, Harry.
Hi, fellas.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Harry.
Stop now. I'm late for the butcher shop.
Okay.
I noticed at the finish of the script, Gracie finally gets me married.
Yeah. Wouldn't be a bad idea if you really did get married.
Well, I've thought about that a lot, George, but I don't know if I'm ready. I mean, when I get married, I want my wife to have everything. You know, a beautiful home, nice car, furs and jewelry, plenty of money, everything.
That's a fine ambition.
Yeah. And so far, I can't find a girl who's got all that.
Stop with the jokes, Harry. It's a great feeling to have a devoted wife who loves you, trusts you, believes in you. I wouldn't be single again for all the tea in China. You know, Oh, hello, sweetheart.
Oh, don't you hello, sweetheart, me, you wolf.
Wolf?
You two-timing Casablanca.
Casablanca?
Sit down, dear. You must be tired chasing around the desk all day.
Chasing who?
I'm not good enough for you anymore. When you married me, I was young and gay and pretty. But now that you're old and broken down, you don't love me anymore.
Wait a minute.
No matter how often you kiss the back of my neck, I will not take a letter.
Huh?
Oh, hello, Harry.
Oh, hello, Gracie.
I'll talk to you later. I'm busy now.
Yeah, I am.
And as for you, George Burns, I hope you'll be happy with your new secretary.
Secretary?
I'll never marry you again as long as I live. And if I had to do it over again, I'd do the exact same thing.
See, you were saying, George, that there's nothing so wonderful as having a wife who loves and trusts you.
Yeah, I read that someplace.
I'll see you later, George.
Oh, Harry, your scripts.
Oh, yeah, that's what I came for.
Where are you going?
I'm going down to the matrimonial bureau and throw rocks through the windows.
You know that secretary that Gracie is jealous about? It's a piece of furniture that stands about this high. Sort of a desk. She heard me on the phone ordering a secretary. We're using it in our television show. So here we go again. Even if I hired a girl, there's no reason to get jealous. I must know at least 100 men who have secretaries, and not one single man has ever tried to romance them. In fact, that's why a lot of secretaries won't work for single men. If it weren't for jealousy, married people would be very happy. Now, there's a couple that live down the street. They just celebrated their golden wedding anniversary. This man has loved the same woman for 50 years. Now, if she had been the jealous type, she'd have found out who this woman was and would have spoiled her happiness. People aren't the only ones. I read about a dog that ran away because she was jealous. It seems that the woman that owned this St. Bernard treated her husband more like a dog than she did the St. Bernard, and the dog couldn't stand it. So Gracie is now jealous of a piece of furniture. The average husband would explain that to his wife. I'm an average husband, but I haven't got an average wife. I'm going to leave it alone. She started this. Let her find out her mistake the hard way. It might teach her a lesson.
Mrs. Burns?
Yes?
My name is Montague. I'm the private detective you sent for. You wanted me to follow your husband.
Oh, yes. You see, if I followed him, he might recognize me. Come on in.
Is there anyone with you?
Yes.
Who?
You.
Mrs. Burns, I mean, can we talk confidentially?
Oh, sure. Sit down.
Thank you. Now, as I understand it, you suspect your husband of being interested in another woman.
Yes, his secretary.
Oh, it's the same old story. Husband hires a cute baby as secretary, and boom, the eternal triangle.
Oh, no, you're wrong about this baby. She's too old to wear those.
Of course. Now, just what is it you want?
Well, I want you to follow my husband and watch him every minute and tell me everything he does.
Don't worry, I will. I'll put a tail on him.
Oh, well, that'll make him easier to follow.
Mrs. Burns, that's a professional expression, meaning that I'll observe him very closely till we get the evidence you need.
The evidence?
You want me to dig up the necessary charges, don't you?
Oh, it would be wonderful if you would. Otherwise, I'll have to pay you myself.
Mrs. Burns, are you sure that it's another woman that's making your husband leave you?
Oh, sure. Say, would you like a cigar?
Thank you, yes.
Well, go right over there and take a few.
Thank
take
you.
3 or 4.
I will. Now, Mrs. Burns, I'd like a picture of your husband.
Where's your hat?
I beg your pardon?
Where's your hat?
Right there. It's funny, I left it right there.
Oh. Why don't you look in the hall?
All right. It's not there.
Oh, I know. I could have told you that.
Do you know where it is?
Sure, I hid it.
Why?
I wanted to see how good a detective you are.
Mrs. Burns.
Look, I'll give you a little clue. Look under a red chair. I guess you do all right. But when you went into the hall to look at it for it, well, you had me a little confused there, you know.
Mrs. Burns, I've got to have a picture of your husband so I'll know who to follow.
Oh, dear. I was so mad at him, I burned it up. Well, it wouldn't have helped you anyway. It was just from here up, and I want you to follow all of him.
Mrs. Burns, I've still got to know what he looks like.
Oh, well, I'll bring him in. He's probably out by the
No, don't do that. If he sees me, he'll know who I am.
No, he won't. Tell him you're somebody else.
Gracie, do you know where...
Oh, excuse me. I was looking for my wife.
I was just talking to your wife.
Oh, really? What about?
Insurance.
Insurance. Oh, now, look, if that's due, don't talk to my wife about it. She never gets anything right.
I know what you mean.
I tell you what. You come down to my office, and Myrtle, my secretary, will write out a check for you. Myrtle does everything for me.
I know.
I have to go find my wife. I'll see you at the office.
By the way, don't I know your secretary? Isn't she sort of a blonde?
Well, she might have been once, but her hair's white now.
White?
Yeah, Myrtle's over 60, you know. I'll see you at the office.
Over 60? This guy's nuttier than his wife.
Oh, Mr. Montague, Oh, excuse me. I thought you were a detective.
I am. You didn't recognize me on account of the mustache.
My goodness, have I been gone that long?
Mrs. Burns, your husband was just in here and told me all about the secretary.
Oh, really?
You know she's over 60?
No! You mean my husband is chasing a woman over 60? Oh, my goodness, this is worse than I thought.
It is?
Well, sure, he can catch her.
There's going to be a lot of surprised people when this thing gets straightened out. Gracie thinks a piece of furniture is a woman. The detective thinks Harry Morton is me. Harry Morton thinks the detective is an insurance man. And my writers think they're going to get paid for this. There's only one man around here that is not confused. So just to keep things normal, let's have a few words from him. Harry?
Thanks, George. Well, folks, last time when I showed you Gracie's baby picture in the Allen family album, it got a very big response. Of course, you know Gracie is only one of millions of babies in our large carnation family. Golly, we have pictures here of carnation babies from all over, everywhere. Let's see here. Oh, here are some of my favorites. These are the Seifert quadruplets of Sleepy Eye, Minnesota. Sleepy Eye, there isn't a drowsy lid in the crowd here. Here's another wide-awake group, the Hargraves quadruplets of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada. And another bunch, the Mortensen triplets from San Antonio, Texas. Now, all of these babies, mind you, and millions more, all were put on carnation right from the very first, just as the doctor is recommending here. You know, doctors have many good reasons for recommending carnation so highly for baby feeding. For one thing, it's very easy to make up a formula with carnation. But, of course, the most important reason is that babies thrive on it so. Little tykes like this need carnation's milk minerals and vitamin D to develop strong, straight backs and good, sound teeth. Then, too, doctors will tell you that carnation is the easiest kind of milk in the world to digest. Oh, yes, indeed. Mothers know their babies are safe on carnation. So is it any wonder that 8 out of 10 mothers who use carnation say their doctor recommended it? I don't think it's any wonder at all. Carnation is the milk every doctor knows. Uh-oh, here we go again.
Boo! Very funny. You scared me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Harry. I was waiting for Gracie. She phoned me
There's
to
a guy
come.
been following me all afternoon.
Somebody following you? Well, who is he?
I don't know. It's probably the fellow I sold that beach house to. How was I to know that the grunion were going to be going through his front room at high tide?
Well, I wouldn't get upset about it, Harry.
Look, Harry, if it's all the same to you, let's go out on the patio. I'll feel a lot safer in the open. You know, this guy's been getting me so nervous I haven't had a chance to set my teeth into my work.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Oh, Harry, I'm so glad you're here.
Well-
And you too, Harry.
Well, Gracie, what's up? What is it?
Well, George is running around with another woman.
George?
Yes, well, you can read it right there in the detective's report.
Detective? Well, what does it say?
Well, I don't know. You see, I can't read it. I'm his wife, and there might be something in there I shouldn't know.
Well, let's see what the old gray wolf has been up to.
He certainly has been busy. Well, I'll be darned. Now, I would never believe this of George.
What'd he do? What'd he do?
He went to the Follies Burlesque show this afternoon.
No. Well, that sneaky old goat. Go on, read the whole thing from the top.
Well, I don't understand. Let's see here. Dear Mrs. Burns, it is my unpleasant duty to inform you that your husband is apparently carrying on a romance with a married woman.
Married woman? If she goes for George, her husband must be somebody she found under a rock. What? Keep on reading.
I started following Mr. Burns as soon as he left his home. He went next door to the Morton house where he let himself in with a key.
My house?
That's what it says. Looking through the front window, I observed the following. Mrs. Morton greeted Mr. Burns warmly, They talked a while, then... Harry, I don't think I ought to read this.
Go on, read it. I want to find out what happened.
You want to...
Sure, go on, read.
Mrs. Morton then gave Mr. Burns some chocolate cake. After eating it, he embraced her and kissed her.
What?
Well, Harry, I told you I shouldn't read
I
this.
get my hands on Blanche, I'll kill her.
Now, Harry, please.
She told me she didn't have any more chocolate cake.
Cake? What about George kissing your wife in broad daylight?
Yeah, what about that?
Aren't you even upset?
You're darn right I'm upset.
Poor Harry. Hello, Miss Bunzel.
Oh, how do you do, Mrs. Morton?
Well, I suppose you've come over here to see your broken-down boyfriend, huh? Your warmed-over Casanova?
Oh, no, Harry, I didn't even know you were here.
Harry, you know, I don't want to get mixed up in anything. I'll leave this with Gracie and... Oh, Mrs. Morton.
You might as well confess. I know all about your romance.
Are you crazy? There hasn't been any romance in my life since the day I married you.
That's right. Act innocent. I ought to take a gun and shoot you.
What are you talking about?
You know
Oh, hi, George.
I left some scripts here.
Yeah.
Well, there's George.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Hug him. Kiss him.
Oh, no, shoot me.
Perhaps I'd better leave. I'm sure you'd prefer to be alone with your Casanova.
Harry, that's Casablanca.
Would you please tell me what this is all about?
Blanche, I know all about George kissing you.
Kissing me?
Yes, and I don't understand it. I have to, but you... Man again, he's been following you all that
Harry, come back here. Relax. You see, Gracie hired that detective to follow me, but he thought you were George Burns, so he followed you.
Then it was me all the time.
Well, I straightened out the Mortons. Now I can just straighten out Gracie, everything. I mean about the secretary being a piece of furniture. If I straighten Gracie out altogether, we'll have a panel show here next week. Well, I think I'll go in and talk to her.
Yeah. Oh, hello, Madge. Come on in.
Oh, no, thanks, Mrs. Burns. I just came by to see if I left my gloves here this morning.
Oh, yes, you did. They're right here. Oh, why don't you come in and help me pack?
Pack?
Yes. I'm leaving George.
Oh, no. No, I don't think I'd better then. Gee, I'm awful sorry.
Oh, well, don't worry about it. I'm going to keep this gay. You know, like Alfred and Lynn Fontanne. I saw them in a play in New York, and they had a big scene where she left him, and they were so gay and sophisticated about him. No tears.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me know how it all comes out. Good luck, Mrs. Burns.
Oh, goodbye, Madge.
Goodbye.
Gracie, I see you're packing. What's the idea?
I'm leaving you, darling.
You're leaving me?
Yes. Oh.
You seem pretty happy about this.
Well, it's better that way. No tears, Alfred.
Alfred?
Oh. Dinner for one tonight, please, James.
James must be a friend of Alfred's. Where do you think you're going?
Who knows? London, perhaps? Maybe Paris? I might even go to Monte Carlo, and some young, handsome roulette will fall in love with me.
Look, Gracie, I think I can explain...
Please, Alfred. No tears. Let's keep it gay.
Listen, Gracie, if you... You never smoked before.
Oh, do you think you're the only one who's been doing things behind my back? Please, Alfred, we must keep it gay.
Yeah, we'll keep it gay, but I'll keep the cigarette.
Oh, sure. Your secretary has taken the love that was once mine. I'll give her that, too.
Look, Gracie, I can explain this whole thing.
Please, dear, please. Farewell, Alfred.
Gracie, you forgot something.
Oh.
Yeah, she forgot to laugh. Yeah?
I'm from the trucking company. You want your secretary in the house?
No, on the patio. Needs work.
Oh, well, you're ashamed to bring her in the house, huh?
Okay, boys. Carry that secretary into the patio.
Well, she at least could have come to work sober.
Gracie, will you let me explain this?
Darling, what's her name? Pamela? Gwendolyn? Gertrude?
Gracie.
Oh, Gracie, you might have had the decency to pick out a woman with a different name.
Let's go out on the patio. Come on, let's go out on the patio. I've stood this long enough. I got news for you. This is the secretary you've been jealous of.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I've got news for you.
What's that?
She's not in there. She left you, too.
Oh, no.
And if it's good enough for her, it's
Farewell,
good
Al-
enough to me.
Farewell,
Yeah,
Alfred.
Farewell, Alfred.
I'd like to look ahead just a few hours. Tomorrow morning, to be exact. You'll probably be doing your marketing then. Just remember to do what a wise shopper is doing. Get Carnation for your coffee. Get Carnation for your cooking. Get Carnation for your baby feeding. You'll be mighty happy that you did, because no other form of milk has as many uses as Carnation. And no other milk is as thrifty to use. See, undiluted Carnation costs less than half as much as cream. And mixed with an equal amount of water, Carnation costs a lot less than ordinary bottled milk. Carnation, the world's favorite brand of evaporated milk. The milk from contented cows. Now, this is Harry Zell saying good night for Carnation. The Burns and Allen Show is a CBS television network production. This is the CBS television network.